SOS is our first survivor tonight. There's only 3 more players remaining in the round of 16. And there's only 1 more spot remaining in the round of 8.
Yeah. Oh my god, when you break it down like that, Tastes, things are starting to get epic. Games tonight have been just crazy, especially SOS games.
Oh yeah, well he was just on another level. Now, herO had some pretty impressive play. He just got outmaneuvered by SOS. Now, Stats is the most conservative Protoss player in this group.
Yes.
He has a very orthodox approach. Basically defend well, tech correctly, try to win in the long run. herO is insane. Yeah, herO's got a very wild play style. He's all over the place. He's very deceptive. People will know that he's going to try to trick him before the match starts, and he still manages to do it anyways.
Yeah.
This guy is the magician Protoss.
Thing is, if he has any flaws, if his execution is off at all, that's where Stats can step in and just bash him. But herO is one of the best micro-based users in the game. He's strategically so sound. His macro is so on point. Like, I don't know. I feel like the way that we saw Stats play his first series won't work against herO. We need to see something else out of Stats.
Yeah, I don't know if it's up to par. I think when you have this many wild, crazy, deceptive players, Stats is going to probably be a little bit out of his comfort zone. Our game's now loaded up. Map number 1 is Odyssey. Let's do this.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. Root Gaming, herO.
Interesting map to start off on, by the way, Odyssey. A little bit small. Of course, has those gold bases. Good, a lot of places to high tech. Third can be a bit hard to defend.
Splice, Stats.
Yeah, we may see them power on 2 bases for a while. Just taking a third a lot of times in PvP can be tricky, especially on this map, like you were saying.
What are you thinking? 2-0 for herO? 2-1 for herO?
I'm thinking 2-0.
2-0?
I'll be pleasantly surprised if we go to Game 3. I just don't know if Stats can make it out of this group. I think Trap did a really good job against him. Looked very solid.
Yeah. I mean, I've been worried for Stats since I saw the group, but you never know with Stats, right?
Right.
Like, his play is extremely good. Just stylistically, this is a tough one.
Well, Stats may end up playing a conservative game and just keep calling the bluffs of herO, you know? We're still waiting for those cybernetic scores to finish. That's when we really get an idea of what kind of game we're going to be looking at here. It's when we see the tech units and tech structures begin to come up in a PvP.
What's the first 2 units they're going to have? Could be any combination.
Right.
Except
Adept, Stalkers, or Sentries.
Except Stalker Adept. That's a really weird one, isn't it? Never
SOS could do it.
Yeah, you could do it.
He'd be fine with it. He'd be like, watch this Artosis.
Yeah. I was like, oh no, that's the best one. I've been saving that.
Yeah. We're like, okay, we don't
that's
know
for
anything
Zest
anymore.
in the finals. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
So, Stats now takes his Nexus. Will we see Stats try to block here? No block just yet.
All right.
Twilight Council now coming here for herO.
Gosh, these guys are
we
loving
surprised?
DT rushes.
Are we really surprised that he would do that?
Do you think it's DT or do you think it's Blink?
Oh, that's kind of funny. He actually, Probe gets down there and does a little bit of scouting of his own. I think maybe, while he's still making Stalkers, maybe Blink? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Blink play from herO.
I feel like if it was DTs, he'd be skimping a little bit more on units, but it's really hard to call. Even when we're seeing them do this, there's so many moments where they can try to fork the builds in different directions. So it is going to be Blink here for herO.
Yeah.
And this makes it even more important that he's doing damage to things like the Stalker up here. Because Blink Stalkers always beat Stalkers without Blink.
Yeah, and if you can have any sort of advantage in numbers too, it snowballs so quickly.
So even damaging that Stalker is pretty important.
Because that Stalker won't be able to blink away when you've got your sights on it. So, still pushing forward. The 3 gates for Stats before his Nexus is going to make him pretty safe for a while. Look at this, double probe to take the gold Nexus. He's going to make extra sure he gets it. Oh, no.
Now, this is funny. He's going to spot the proxy pylon. So maybe he wants to let that finish first.
Oh, my God.
And then try to dive on it. Or no, I guess he wants to just shut it down immediately. This is such a cool strategy.
This is such a wild
herO.
game. And I love that Stats is putting on some aggression here, or at least trying to. Oh, my
Blink
God.
not done yet. Blink not done yet.
Is Blink done yet?
Blink not done yet.
Wow,
Okay.
a lot of damage dealt there to those Stalkers.
I believe it's gone undetected that this gold base is being acquired here for herO. So Stats may really misread the situation. You know, herO can be aggressive. He doesn't have to, though. So this probe trying to force Stats to chase him away from where the hidden base is.
I'd be pretty surprised if herO doesn't do something aggressive with a gold base. I don't think he'll try to go into a macro game from there. I think that maybe he'll just go into, like, Supermass Adepts or Zealots. Like, either one would be fine here.
With just a lot of gateway tier 1 units.
And keeping some pressure on with the Stalkers can actually play into that very, very well, because your opponent's going to be really into making Immortals at that point. And, you know, if you're... Oh, I love the recall, too. Just hides what he's doing completely. But, if your opponent is, like, focusing heavily on going kind of some anti-Stalker tech and doesn't realize you have that gold base, then you can really overrun him, you know? Mass Adept attacks, mass Zealot attacks early on against Immortals are pretty good. Pretty good plays.
So the first Immortal's about halfway done. Looks like he's going to try to come in here and assassinate some of the sentries, excuse me. One goes down. Guardian Shield being burned on the other one. But with every Immortal that comes out, the Stalkers lose a lot of their oomph. And it seems like Stats actually wants to try to push out and pick a fight. And I think that was the only call he could make right there, was to try to blink away. So what herO does now is tries to expand again. Stats is in a bit of a defensive posture, and he's hoping he can leverage this additional income that he has, herO is, in this game.
So charge on the way. Not getting a Forge, though. This is such a telling thing, not seeing a Forge, right? Because his Stalkers can keep Stats busy for a long time anyways, but I think we're just going to see a big gateway explosion and a massive attack incoming. You know, get the Observer so you're safe, get a Prism, and go.
Yeah. And, you know, with the Stalkers having Blink and going into the main like we just saw back there, it makes it even more difficult for Stats to try to leave his own base. And that's why herO's able to take such full advantage of what's happening in this game. Is he's beholden to these Stalkers that can at any moment try to dive on top of vulnerable locations that Stats is controlling. And there's the 5 gateway explosion coming up here.
All right. So it's going up to 7 or 8 gates at this point. He's finally going to figure out that that gold has been taken. When he sees those minerals, he's going to know it was very early.
Yeah. Looks like he's trying to see if he can't come in here and just take down one of these Immortals. It does not work out. And now with Stats realizing what the actual tempo of this game has been, seeing that gold base so late, this is going to be a stressful moment for him. All these gateways now finishing up, and herO can continue to power up more and more and more. Oh, he's going to go for it. That pylon's just asking for it.
Yeah, both of them are, in fact. Those pylons were looking at him funny.
That's right.
Just gaining any sort of value here when you have the strong economy on that gold base is really, really nice. Up comes the Prism. And he's getting a lot of Zealots as well. Like, charge on the way here for Stats, and he's going into his Templar Archives, but he needs to play in a defensive posture. I think it's okay to zone these out, but when the actual attack comes from herO, he should know that he will be outnumbered. Yeah, there is no chance he won't be outnumbered because he saw that there's a gold base. So he needs to, like, get very defensive. What he has working for him is he has higher tech units and he has better upgrades. If he tries to defend, like, for instance, this is one of those situations like we saw Stats vs. Trap on Blackpink, where, like, if herO attacks the third and Stats tries to defend, Stats loses the game instantly. Stats needs to defend in his natural. And the thing is, herO's going to go for that anyways. He realizes that this is like a sick timing for him.
Okay, the Archons are being morphed right now, which means there's a window where herO could definitely pounce.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
And actually, these force fields doing so well right now for Stats, keeping those Zealots back.
But herO can actually try to snipe these Archons from this position. The Immortals are trying to shimmy over here. to the top. Now the Zealots are spilling through, and I'm getting a little bit worried here because there are so many Zealots, and there's really nowhere to run, nowhere to hide for Stats. herO's going to take game 1. GG.
Well done by herO. Stats was trying to get something done there. Didn't really have the buildings to help him out. Against that many charge lots, you're going to need some building walls. Obviously, shield batteries are always going to be a helpful thing there as well. I think as soon as he saw that gold base, and the fact that there was like the natural was taken, sure, but not gases there. Maybe he could have looked deeper and said, oh my god, there's no forge. All these things pointed towards a massive incoming attack. And if you die there, the game's over, right? So maybe defend a little bit more heavily.
It goes to show just how different the approaches of these two players are stylistically.
Yeah.
I mean, herO always seems to have just a more advanced plan, where Stats is trying to get a proper PvP off the ground.
Yeah.
And it just seems like herO is more than aware of that.
He tries to play right.
Yeah. He tries to play like the virtuous nerd.
Yeah.
This is the meta.
Well,
or herO's like,
This is a great way to play on the ladder to really improve your overall skills. To play like Stats. Like, these are proper things he's doing, but
you want to know how you advance to the round of 8? You play like herO.
Well, sure.
herO's running circles around him right now.
He is, indeed.
Let's see if Stats does something dramatic here in game number 2. Right now, he's been outclassed by Protoss players that are basically more deceptive than he is. They do not care about the normal PvP meta. They're going to go right around it.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. Root Gaming, herO.
It's a great night of PvP. Are you not entertained, guys in the chat?
Splice, Stats.
It better be entertained, because this is, you don't get better than this. It's really fun just having this matchup here tonight, because we get to see just how different everybody's approach is, and
I'll take
kind of what works and what doesn't.
For ZVZ, for PvP, for, or I guess 5 matchups, but 4 players. Or TVT, it's cool. Like, even the other night, we almost had 5 TVPs, which was super interesting as well. We saw a big range of play there. Did get it ruined at the end with TVT at the end, but that was a sick TVT also, so I didn't mind.
So, for the time being, things are basically mirrored. We want to see what the first 2 units are that come out of the gateway. Will there be the Twilight Council? Will there be DTs?
God, these Twilight builds have just been popping up everywhere today.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're happening more often than they're not happening.
Yeah.
It
might be a response to the rise in popularity of Stargate, trying to catch that off guard, right?
Sure.
Like, if you go Stargate and you don't go super fast Robo after it, because it's more powerful if you don't go super fast Robo after it, then the DT build will get you, and the Blink build in general will be good against that. There's always that, if it's a very quick Twilight, right? Because you'll have Blink Stalkers out, and there won't be that many Immortals. So, might just be that little bit of the meta playing itself out. Always interesting to see.
There's also this little metagame that's always going on about, are they going to take that Nexus right away? Can they hide the fact that they took it? Trying to create some ambiguity. Because in this current state of the game, the player has to both try to scout the main and try to check the expansion area to get a read on what's going on. And in some situations, we've seen players force you to choose one or the other. StarCraft, of course, being a game of incomplete information, that's what you leverage to then outmaneuver even in one of the best players in the world.
Stargate on both sides. A little bit quicker here for herO. Who's also getting a shield battery down at his natural with that Nexus. And Stats is going for the 3-gate Stargate. I'm very surprised that this is actually a build.
Oh, what shocks you about it?
This is the 3rd time that we've seen 3-gate Stargate.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that, once upon a time, Oracle 3-gate was one of the strongest builds PvP ever saw. It was crazy how good that was for a while, but That was years ago, and this is not that at all. This is Phoenixes with some Stalkers, and I don't know. I find it very weird.
I wonder if it's engineered to stop something that we're not seeing happen here. Sometimes builds can look weird and off because it doesn't seem to be a response to anything, but maybe in all these GM ladder games in Korea, there's another story.
There must be.
That's been unraveling.
I just don't know what that is. Really not sure of it. Okay, triple shield battery is going to be the order of the day here. Proxy pylon going up for stats. 9 Stalkers against 2. Well, that's a pretty good count, isn't it?
Okay, here we go. The shield battery's continuing to heal. Looks like some of that's going on to the Phoenixes.
Well, they're going to be out of energy super fast with this many Stalkers out here. Before Phoenix comes down. The Phoenix is actually being targeted down by these Stalkers so far. Shield battery's going to be running out of energy shortly.
Okay, we have more warp-ins, but the Stalker number is getting lower and lower. Only one more battery left with energy. Oh, I think this is the tipping point, right?
It looks like it. Still warping in some Stalkers. I mean, these shield batteries will get more energy over time. The Phoenixes are going to take a lot longer to be able to have additional lifts. You might have one more lift or so.
Probes have been pulled here. I think that Stats is just got enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, the shield batteries are basically giant paperweights at this point in time. Stats has to try to close this one out, though.
Yeah, the worker count, pretty close still, but I mean, Stats right now just walking forward with these Stalkers. As the Phoenixes run out of energy, they just become so worthless, though.
Yeah, even one additional. Is that it?
He's got no units.
Yeah, he gets the pylon here, and that should be GG.
Yeah, all right. Stats fighting back, showing some life here in this group finally.
Yep, coming forward now, it's just going to be these 2 Stalkers and whatever Phoenixes are remaining versus the constant triple Stalker warp in here from Stats.
Well, just waiting for a lift. That's really not going to come in time.
Okay, let's go to game 3.
Okay.
I like it. I think Stats doing some builds that pack a little bit of punch. And this is going to force herO to have maybe a little bit more respect in the choices of openings he's going to have.
Totally.
Okay, you are capable of doing something kind of decisive and aggressive and not simply expanding and growing.
Yeah.
And trying to get into a later part of the game and try to win.
It's important to show that you're willing to do more than just scout your opponent and try to counter what he's doing.
Right.
Because that's something that these guys play around very, very well. So as soon as Stats shows some speed, he wins his first PvP of the night. Or, well, wait, no, he took a game off trap, didn't he?
I don't
remember at this point. There's been too many PvPs.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
It's all kind of blending together in my head.
Yeah, I believe he did take it. Yeah, he took the game off.
So our last map's going to be Ascension to Ire. Let's see what builds herO and Stats use. And don't forget the trap is just around the corner, watching, taking mental notes, and prepping because he needs to win his PvP too.
Yeah. I feel like there's an Akbar joke in there somewhere. Trap is waiting around the corner.
Yeah. And our game is now loading up. Do tell your friends to join us here. This is going to be the last match between herO and Stats before one of our 2 players is eliminated from the GSL Codex.
GSL Season 1 Codex Daybreak. Root Gaming, herO.
What does he have planned for Stats this time?
Splice, Stats.
Definitely on a map where he can get into that later game. Right, Ascension Ire, it's a big map. Pretty easy to get multiple bases here.
Sure. Kind of the macro players map.
It is.
Can that be exploited though by herO? Just because a map looks a certain way, and it seems to reward people that maybe play more conservatively. Do you do something even crazier as herO and try to punish them for that?
Be able to tell you the answer to that in about a minute here. See what he goes for.
So it is the stats with the first scout. Now going across the map. Just trying to get a glimpse inside the base here of herO. herO has not sent anything out. Is playing a blind man's game.
Yeah, just kind of marching along his build order at the moment. That's kind of interesting. That definitely means something. The fact that he's choosing not to scout.
You know, you get a little bit of extra mining done if you don't send that probe out. For those of you guys that are confused, like, why would you ever not scout? Well, for some reason, he wants those few extra minerals. We're waiting to see why that is.
Does he make a sentry? Let's see. This is the important part. Okay, he's just going for a fast expansion. He's playing a very safe build. If you go sentry stalker, that means it doesn't have to mean that you're going for the fast nexus, but it generally will, because you're trying to get the very, very fast hallucinated scout, and generally that'll come in time that you can kind of counter whatever they're doing, unless it's like a one base all in. Twilight coming up though. Okay, he is going that tech route.
And the nexus, it looks like it's going to be planted here. There's a probe hidden just at the very, very edge. Here for stats, he wants to try to come in here and get a peek and say, are you really getting an Nexus? I'm actually surprised that herO hasn't checked here.
I have to say, right now, looking at this, I feel like herO has a slight edge because they're both going Twilight, right?
Yeah, his is faster.
I think it's based more off of the fact that he has a sentry. So if there's a DT tech...
Oh, dude.
Wow.
Did he see it?
I don't know. We're about to check.
Here we go.
No.
No. Oh, man, that's so crazy.
But yeah, he has a sentry. So even if he's playing against DTs, he'll know. And he'll just know what he's playing against, basically, right? If he flies in and he sees, oh, it's blink versus blink, okay, now I have that intel. Whereas, you know, if suddenly Stats is coming across the map with blink and he doesn't know he's walking into blink, things can go wrong.
Okay, the first fight's happening. 4 versus 3, herO does have to run. Shield's almost all gone now on the Stalker.
No shield battery down here or anything.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, this is where it kind of hurts getting that one sentry. So this one pylon's going to go down here. This is actually supply blocking herO now. herO's going to have to march down the ramp and try to pick a fight.
He's got 5 Stalkers now. Definitely can push those back finally. Oops. I'm going to lose that. Oh, just barely not. Look at that.
Yeah, nicely done. Every Stalker's so important here.
All right. Robo coming up for Stats. We haven't seen that hallucinated scout yet. Is that it in the middle? Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so that's now going towards the main to try to get a glimpse inside there. What exactly is going on?
Sees 4 Stalkers. Robo. Wow, he didn't see the Twilight. But the Robo was late enough that you got to be like, what?
Yeah, I think you could still take what you have there and sort of know the rest of the makeup as far as tech goes.
Stargate would have already hit you by now with the Robo being that late. So, yeah, I think that's plenty of intel.
Stalker's coming up now. What is actually, I think, pacing-wise, been a pretty steady game from these two guys. I think herO, trying to mix it up, really dialed it back, and was maybe hoping that Stats might try to, you know, overcompensate in some way. Now we have the first engage here, but there are going to be Stalkers coming up from behind. Oh, look at this control. That was beautifully done by both sides.
Ooh, that blink forward. Was that an overcommitment there, though?
Okay, Guardian Shield comes down, so there's no way Stats can try to engage that further, at least for the time being. Is Stats going to try to blink into the main?
I don't think so, not against blink.
No, yeah, you're right, because if they both have blink, then the guy blinks in your main, you punish him so hard.
Yeah, offensive blinks against blink is pretty bad. It's like super dangerous to do something like that.
So okay. herO stayed back now. We're getting Immortals teched out right now for Stats. And it looks like herO is going to be a little bit slower with the Immortal count. Slow enough that it looks like Stats should always be up 1 Immortal. Until an exchange goes poorly for him.
Might be. We'll see what they spend their Chronos on as well here. The upgrades are out, so both sides trying to go down that route. Everything looking like, I mean, they're basically doing the same thing. How many sentries are on Stats' side? I imagine because he's Stats, he has to have 3.
I think it's actually herO with 3, and I think Stats might have 1 or 2 even.
Well, that actually gives herO a little bit more leeway with this, where herO can actually walk out and pressure the 3rd Nexus. Because if you both have Immortal, Stalker, Sentry, attacking is pretty powerful. You throw down a couple force fields, their Immortal can't get in on you, and they can't blink in on you because you have Blink and Immortal. So you can kind of walk up to a Nexus with that.
Yeah, and if he keeps him just stuck on 2 bases, there's going to be a lot more room for growth over here for herO. Is herO going to go for Disruptors here with his tech? This is also interesting.
It looks like he does want to go with Disruptors, but Stats with the more modern version of PvP going into Charge, going into the Templar Archives.
Yeah, going into, I think, what's more proper PvP tech setup here, with herO going for the kind of off-brand style of play.
This is Ascension Ire. It's a big map, and again, these bases are pretty defensible. Like, herO never even decides to put on any pressure despite having those 3 sentries. Happy to keep them at home and get his scouting intel. Of course, he's going into that Disruptor tech, so this is a powerful unit combination.
Now, with the DT tech coming up here from herO, it seems like this is going to be something he's going to try to exploit in a much later part of the game. Coming out here, he might be able to slip a DT or 2 here or there. I mean, of course, you need to get Archons as well, but just it's worth noting when you get into PvP games where the whole map's starting to get consumed, DTs become a lot more effective because you just have so much more that the other player's trying to keep track of.
Well, you know, if your opponent doesn't have his observers all over the place, even if they have cannons and stuff, you can do things like kill cannons with DTs. It's totally doable.
Okay, herO's going to start the push. I don't think Stats can hold his ground here, especially with Disruptor shots being chucked forward.
He has to back up for the time being.
Yep.
Needs a lot of charge lots to really deal with this, I think.
He might actually just try to do this anyways. Here we go. Nice targeting so far.
Ooh.
Looks like that last Disruptor is gunned down, and it's going to be Stats in pursuit right now of herO.
All right, blinking forward. He's hitting that Immortal with his Stalkers, actually.
Stats is doing a great job. And I think he might be able to actually isolate. Yeah, there we go. Isolate this Immortal from the rest of the army, which means that his Stats is going to have a huge Immortal amount of health. And then he's going to continue to come out. I don't know. That was like not English what I said. But Stats doing a very good job dissecting that army. Now, is the Warp Prism going to go all the way across the map?
The single Stalker drop? Yeah.
Oh, you know it.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Stats, I think, can keep pressing forward, Artosis.
Yeah.
These Stalkers for herO are kind of in an odd spot.
hero's economy
neither here nor there.
And, well, with Disruptors, you know, you get a couple good Disruptor hits. He's killing multiple Stalkers. Ooh, misses that one completely. So
great blinking.
Yeah, nice.
And these Disruptors don't really have anywhere to run or hide. In fact, if he just blinks on top of him here, there we go.
One of them does connect.
This one Archon with no shields somehow still in this game. I think that Stats might have just done it.
That's a pretty big victory.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are probably looking at herO to be able to take down Stats. He's been playing so well as of late, but Stats showing you can never underestimate him.
Yeah, well, this is why this guy was so consistent in 2017.
He's showing a lot of range here as well in this series, whereas against Trap, it didn't feel that way.
And he knows this is a cheap and easy way to come in here and really eke out additional damage. Just come down here and slaughter all the probes. 41 kills now.
27 workers against 49 is quite a difference.
Pretty huge.
Just about no way back into that for herO. Thing is, if there was one person that could come back from this, it would be SOS.
Sure.
But this is herO, so if there was 2 people, herO would probably be the second.
I feel like unless herO does some huge amount of damage, specifically to the economy of Stats, I don't see any way Stats doesn't just eventually outmuscle him with just sheer production.
Well, I think he's just going to go do it right now.
It does not matter how good you are at blinking in moments like this.
He'd need the sickest Disruptor hits, and the thing is, the sickest Disruptor hits don't happen anymore because of the way it changed, so...
Okay, nice splitting here. And Stats now coming in with this killing blow.
And all herO has at this point is a Disruptor and a dream, as M. Canning would say. But it's not enough in this case.
GG. Stats is going on to the final match. Surprisingly, herO, the first player eliminated in Group D.
Yeah, he gets last place. Huh.
How about that?
That's a tough beat,
How
though.
funny.
Right? You lose that, so it's like, okay, every Protoss on Earth was going to lose to him in this group today.
Right.
And then that's a nice close series with Stats, at least.
And if my memory serves me correctly, it was Trap that took out Stats.
Yes.
Earlier on. So this is Stats' moment to try to get his revenge. We do look forward to seeing herO in future GSL Codesses, but...
And we will.
Now is Stats' time.
herO's still not having like an actual Codess victory. He's done very well overall, like with super tournaments, for instance. What was it, a first place and a second place last year?
That's right. All right,
See if
guys,
we can do that again.
We're going to a break. We'll be right back.